Test 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. All right, so hopefully. All right. I think we're live. Let me just get some of this reverb off. Test 1, 2. Yes, I am fretting a root note on my finger. Let me just see what we got here. All right, so we hopefully are live. I think we are. All right, so I'm just playing around a little bit, and I want you to realize, for those of you that follow, that everything that you see me do here over the next little while, these are all things that we talk about every day, okay? So these are all things put to use that I talk about. Things like arpeggiating and strumming and rhythm and, chords and using open chords up the neck and, all this kind of stuff that we talk about on a regular basis, okay? So lately I've been talking and giving some information to people that are further along in their journey, right? So, I played 5 years before I knew anything about the fretboard, what a key was. I had no idea at all what a key was, all right? And, that's just the reality of learning the guitar. Now, remember, the big problem with beginners is we think, or we are told, or we are shown, or it's insinuated that we've got to learn theory right off the bat. And I'm going to tell you, you don't. Again, I played 5 years. I didn't know what a key was. I didn't know how to make a chord. I didn't know what notes made up a chord. What's a triad? No idea. Do you know any scales? No. Nothing. All I did was, I would punch in the song I wanted to learn to the inner Google, and I would just try to follow it. And if it wasn't exactly in my wheelhouse, I didn't understand when they said, okay, so the chords here are G, A, G, D, for example. And I would go G, A, G, D, but it didn't quite sound right. Well, I didn't understand that what they meant was this G or this G, right? And this A, and this G, and this D. I didn't understand that. And that gives, even though it's the same chords, it gives the song a more authentic to what you're listening to play, right? And I didn't understand any of that stuff. And of course, when we start to learn guitar, anywhere we go, we look at the guitar player. We go to a bar and there's a band, we watch the guitar player, and if, you know, whatever, right? So I'd be seeing them doing things like this. And I'd go, isn't that an A chord? But that should be played here. I've even seen people do this. And I'm like, well, shouldn't that be, like, that's an A shape, and this is a D shape. Why are they playing that, right? So I didn't understand any of that stuff. So if you're just starting out, or if you're in your first year, look, one of the reasons that a lot of beginners quit, there's two reasons, main reasons. One is they get distracted, and every other day they're trying to learn something new, and that's just not the way to do it. Slash, they're trying to learn things based on a video that they have no reason to learn because this is above your grade. So it'd be like, you know, if you wanted to cook and you just wanted to learn how to make a grilled cheese sandwich, well, you're not going to study a French chef's cuisine of the day and expect to cook like them. All you want to do is make grilled cheese sandwich, right? So in this case, all we want to do is play songs. I don't need to know the second mode of the third position of the blues scale, and I don't need to know what notes are in my D chord, and I don't need to know any of this stuff. I just don't. Yet we think that not only do we need to use it, but that it's pretty easy. This will be no problem. It's not. It's like learning a foreign language. So you go to a Chinese restaurant, it's like saying, okay, in order for me to order my food, I have to learn how to speak Chinese. And that's not the case, right? The menu would be written in English. So, again, you know, we don't have to worry about theory. You've got the inner Google, and now you got AI and all this stuff. You don't need to learn music theory. Play within your means. So if you know a few open chords, then that's what you're going to look for. You're going to look for songs that allow you to play your open chords. And a lot of times I didn't realize that I would Google a song and I would see, you know, E flat major and C sharp minor. I'm like, oh my God, I can't play these chords. But what I didn't realize is that if I put a capo, say, on 4, then I could play, there's my E chord right there, right? By playing a C chord that I already know, but with a capo on 4, it becomes an E chord. And these are things that you're not going to know, right? So let's kind of relax a little bit. And the second reason, kind of like the first reason, that most people quit is because you think you have to learn music theory, so you start trying to learn some and you realize, hey, this is kind of complicated and I don't get it. And it's detracting from the overall experience of playing your guitar, and you end up quitting. And that's not cool, right? So, look, again, we don't need much. We just need enough to get started and let everything fall into place in due time. Whether that due time is a few weeks, a few months, or a few years, everybody's different, okay? Look what, I mean, you can do a lot with just 3 chords, or it might be these 3 chords. enjoy them, right? When you learn something in the first year, stop to enjoy the fruits of your labor. So what happened to me, and I think many of you here, is that, so I would learn 2 open, 3 open chords. So let's say it was, again, what I was just playing, E, A, D. Right? And before I could enjoy them, I'm off learning something else. Oh, let's learn bar chords. Oh, let's learn triads, and you're playing around with triads and all this stuff. Like, stop. Just stop, right? Instead, take those 2 or 3 chords and look up some songs. And you'll be surprised. I mean, first of all, you can play any song in any key by using a capo, no problem. The more open chords you know, the more your song library, the bigger it's going to be. But if it's only 3 chords, you've got tons of songs that you can play. Start doing that right away, okay? Don't get all crazy about things like having to play fancy openings. Don't worry about it. Just start on the G or the E or whatever chord it is. Don't worry about the solos or middle 16s as they're sometimes called. Don't worry about things like that. Just get the chords of the song. Mama, take this badge off of me. I can't use it no more. Da da ba bam ba bam ba. Ba 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 ba. Okay? Don't worry about being fancy. Okay? So a simple understanding of a 1-4-5 in key start with G. Is that what you wanted to know, Sean? No problem. Okay. Yeah, you can do a lot with 3 chords in a capo. And of course, the more chords you know, the better, obviously. The more paint you have, the more colorful picture you can paint. The more numbers you have, the more math equations you can come up with. The more chords you play, the more songs you can play, right? Okay. So, yeah, Matt, that is, I'm going to tell you about it. That is so common. And that is a huge thing. Now, okay, so when I started, the social media thing for me, I don't even know if I had a smartphone at that time. I'm not saying years ago. It's only, I'm not saying decades ago. It was only years ago. But I just wasn't into the whole social media thing. And so, luckily, I didn't start off, scrolling, looking for the next big thing. I had a circle of some friends, they played, and I learned that way, or I started to learn that way. And then everything was going good. I was about 8-9 months in, and I was enjoying it. And then I started the social media thing. And boy, I'll tell you, within a month I quit. Pretty much, 2 months maybe. So after a year I quit, but it was only a couple of months. I was just like you, Matt. I would practice for hours, literally until my fingers bled, playing what not only I knew, but what I'm trying to learn to add to my repertoire. And then I would flick through social media, and there would be somebody sitting there, going, and all this stuff, and I'm like, really? So, and I warn people about this all the time. I always tell people, always, don't compare yourself to your social media heroes. Do not do that, because, it's not only because many of them are really good. It's not only that, okay? Nowadays, we have to even wonder if it's real. Like, I've seen videos, I see them every day, and I'm going to tell you, they're not playing those guitars. When you see all those funky things going on, and it sounds perfect, and they're playing all these, like, little fills in between the chords, and you're watching the fingers, and it just doesn't make sense. It was probably because it isn't real. And then and I've tried this myself, just to see if it can be done, and it can be done. And what I did was, I filmed myself. I played a piece. I'm not playing the piece now because I don't want to trip. I'm trying to hold the copyright up on this. So I'm just playing chords. So I'm playing a song, and I'm happy with it. I like it. And then I see someone on the media thing, on the inner Google, play the same thing, and I just go like, oh man, I can't do that. Like, this is so, and now I feel like I'm just inferior. So happens to a lot of people. All right, so 1, 4, 5. All right, so what you're doing is you're numbering the chords in a key, and that's what we do. We number. I've got a couple of videos in the fretboard theory section, I believe, on my channel about this stuff. So we number the notes in a scale. So in G, the G note would be 1, the A note would be 2, the B note, C note, 4, 5, 6, and on and on. Then we decide, depending on their numbers, whether they're major or minor. So in a key, the notes, those numbers, are the same, but they pertain to the chords. So in the key of G, right, G would be your 1 chord. Now your second chord would be an A, okay? Your third chord would be a B. Your fourth chord, C, and your fifth chord, D, and your sixth chord, E. And that's all I'm worried about. There is a seventh chord. It's called a diminished chord, but unless you're playing some reggae, classical, jazz, you're not going to use. So, like, I've been playing for quite a few years now, and I don't think I've ever played a diminished chord when I play a song. Okay, but if you want to learn that seventh chord, go for it. I worry about the 6 chords, right? Now the 1, 4, and 5 chords. So how do we get there? Well, we just explained that there's A, B, C, D, E. So in G, for example, G, A, B, C, D, E. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now the chord has a number. Now we have to make sure that it's minor or major. Now the 1, 4, and 5 chords in any key are always major, in a major key. So in G major, the 1, 4, and 5 are the major chords. So that would be G. Now the 2 chord is an A, but it's a 2 chord. It's not a 1, 4, and 5, so therefore it's an A minor. The B is a 3, it's a B minor. The C is a 4, it's a C major, and the D is a 5, D major, okay? That's how we establish the chords in a key. So you were asking about the key of the 1, 4, 5 in G. So that would be G, A, B, C would be 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and D would be 5, right? Now in a minor key, it's a little different. The first note, will, of course, will be minor because you're in a minor key. So the second note will be that weird diminished chord that we're never going to play. So in G, right, the second note would be an A diminished, right? So then we would go to a B, right? So if it was a G minor, so the 1, 4, and 5 would be minor chords. The 2 is a diminished, and the 3 and 6 would be, and 7 would be major chords. So it's a little different. But that's all that is. And we go to a different key. So for example, If we go to the key of A is the 1 chord. B is a 2, so it's B minor, so it'd be A, B minor, A, B minor. Then it's a C minor, but it's actually a C sharp minor because there's no B sharp. So it goes up 2, B to C is 1, C sharp would be 2 steps up, like a whole 2 frets up, a whole step. So in A, it would be A major, B minor, C sharp minor, D major, E major, and then you have your F sharp minor. So again, that's all we do. We number the chords within a key. Okay, I have a full-length video, and the analogy I use is houses in a neighborhood. So we have a neighborhood, which is the key. There are 7 houses in the G neighborhood. They're all numbered on the door, 1 to 7. The 1, 4, and 5 house is the big house, the major house. The 2, 3, and 6 are the little houses, the minor houses. And the 7th, well, that's that weird house at the end of the street that never cuts their grass, and you know, your parents tell you never to go over there, that kind of thing. All right. So that's how keys work. So, yeah, Matt, look, one of the, I didn't finish that one kind of analogy. One of the reasons that you can't compare yourself to these people is because you don't know how long they've been playing. Like some of these people have been playing, nowadays you get kids 6, 7 years old and they're starting to shred the board. By the time they're 15 and 16, they're like professionals. You know, like you can't expect that. It's like going out, you know, to learn to cook or to play golf or tennis or whatever. You take a few lessons and you practice for a couple of months. It does not mean that you can go out and play against Tiger Woods or cook with the best chefs in the world or open your own restaurant. You just can't do it at that point. We can't play the guitar. It's too complex. There's too much physical demands to be able to play this thing in 2 months. You know, I mean, you know, I made great progress the 3rd time that I started to play. So I quit twice, as most of you know. For about a year I played, and then I quit, and I played another year and quit. When I came back the 3rd time, now, yeah, I had a little bit of a foundation. I had been, you know, starting to play bar chords, but I couldn't play them very well. They were always sounding like this. I tried every day, but I just couldn't get it. My hands would get sore and everything. And then I knew the A minor pentatonic scale, but this is all I could do. That's all I could do is play it up and down. I couldn't make music with it. I didn't know how to use it. And I kept thinking, why am I spending hours and days and weeks doing this when I don't play the guitar here? I play the guitar here. So, of course, looking back, the smart thing would have been to learn the minor pentatonic in this position. So the A or whatever in this position, or whatever I was playing, because then I could use it in my playing. Right? I could use the notes from the pentatonic to weave into my open chords. We call them walk-ups and walk-downs. So if I want to go from G to C, or I want to go from D, right? That's all we're doing, is we're just throwing in some notes from a scale Doesn't have to be the minor. It could be the major pentatonic. Could be the major scale. Could be the blues scale. Whichever scale that you learn, they all have positions here. So, you know, looking back, yeah, Kevin, that's a good point. The best progress was when I stopped worrying about progress. Yeah, that's right. So here's another thing that happens, and maybe some of you have noticed it. You play every day, and you're going through the grind every day, and you think, because you've been told, got to play every day, half hour, an hour, 2 hours, whatever it is, 20 minutes, got to play every day. And then something happens, you cut your finger, you go away for 2 weeks, whatever. And you come back and you pick up your guitar and everything just sounds amazing because you're not thinking about it. Just picking it up. As soon as you start to think about it, hey, that sounded pretty good. Okay, maybe I should play this and that. Now, all of a sudden, you're thinking again. This instrument, I have found, for me, remember, everything I talk about here on my channel, in the videos, everything I talk about is me. I'm not saying you need to do this, this is the way to do it, that's the way to do it. Not at all. This is the way I did it. This is what I did to get me from frustrated beginner going nowhere but going everywhere to, holy jumping Ray, that sounded good. Like, hey, you're getting pretty good. You know what I mean? And being able to learn songs literally like that, being able to learn songs, and just having a command, being in control in my own little world. Now, I would go somewhere to a jam or something, and these people are ripping triads up and down the neck and all this, and I'm like, oh my God, okay, I'm not in control. This is not my world. So I'm going to watch, I'm going to learn. If I can contribute gently, I will. If not, I'm going to stay out of the way because this is above me, right? And that's okay. So, you know, you don't have to know everything. And it's one of the major things that I learned. And once I understood that I didn't have to know anything, man, that's pressure's off. So again, what I've talked about in the last little while are philosophical. It's mostly what I do here. There isn't much. You know, you got to know the basics, and I've put out many videos explaining what those basics are for the average beginner that does not want to be a professional musician, that just wants to play the guitar. I've put together many lists in different ways of all you need to know. And all you need to know is a few chords from the same key, because that's how songs are written. So what I mean by that is, okay, so I know an A major because, say, a buddy gave it to me. But then I want to play G, D, oh, and I know a D minor. Okay. Well, these chords, they don't really go together, right? So if I Google a bunch of songs, very rarely am I going to get a chord progression of G, D minor, E, G, E minor, or a G, E major, E, G, E major, D minor. Like, they don't go together because they're generally not from the same key. So if you learn songs from the same key, like Sean mentioned about 1-4-5, so that's the 1-4-5 chord from a key. So in the key of G, now I can play the 12-bar blues. G is 1. To the 4. You know this, you've played it, you've heard it. Back to the 1. To the 5, to the 4, to the 1, with a turnaround back to the beginning. Think of Folsom Prison Blues. I hear the train a-comin'. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. It's not in this key, but it's the same relationship. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. Right? That would be an E. I hear the train coming. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. I don't know when I'm stuck in Folsom Prison. Right? You get it? That's the 12-bar blues. So if you learn the 1-4-5 of G, A, D, whatever, you don't have to know a song to play and to jam. You just jam over the 12-bar blues. Right? So, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, that's a good little jam. And if you get another guitar player, maybe a harmonica player, electric guitar, a bass player, whatever, you guys could rock for hours playing just the 12-bar blues in a couple of different keys, right? So again, you know, you don't have to know everything, okay? The other thing that I think a lot of people, how would you say it? A lot of people think that you have to play the song that you want to learn in that key, and you don't. So I'll just quickly explain how that works. Like if you have a song in the key of whatever, E, for example, so it's E, then it might be B, might be C sharp minor, I think is another one. Might be F sharp minor is another one. You know, they got all these chords that, you know, I don't know how to play this because I got to play bar chords. Okay, so no problem, but we don't have to play it in the key of E. We can transpose it, and it all, again, with those numbers. Every chord is numbered. So for example, if I'm in the key of G and I play the 1-4-5, that's G, C, and D. And we're going to have a little jam. We got a singer. And then the singer goes, hey, wait, guys, hold on. I can't sing in G. I want to sing in A. Okay. So now we got to play the 1-4-5 in A. So it's the same relationship, right? Here's G, C, D. G. Right? G, C, D. All right, so here it is in A. Okay? The 1 would be A. The 4 in G is C, so the 4 in A is A, B, C, D. So we're going to go A, D, E, right? A, D, E. So listen to the G, C, D. Right? Now, here's the A, D, E. It's the same. It's just higher or lower. Okay? So we could take a song from one key, it's done all the time, using those numbers. So if it's a 1-4-5 in G and we want to play it in C, then we got to play 1 is C, C, D, E, F is 4, and G. So we got to play to sound like, or like. It's the same musical relationship, it's just higher or lower. So we could take a song that we don't know the chords to. A lot of people do it to avoid playing bar chords and transpose it to a key that has no bar chords, like C or G. Well, G has 1, but it's a diminished. And away you go. Now, the risk of that is, it's like anything, right? Like if you're building something and you pull everything together so it fits on one end, but then you've pulled everything too much, and then the other end there's gaps. And you got to have that perfect fine, a bit of both to make it, you know what I'm saying? Okay, it's the same with this. If we stray too far from the original key, it may well fit our voice, it may well fit the way we play, and we're able to play it, but it might not sound like the record, and you won't be able to play it along with the record because it'll just sound sour because you're playing in two different keys. But the musical relationship of when the notes go up or the chords go down and all that kind of stuff, it's all going to be the same. And it's essentially the same song. But if it's not the same, okay? So you see what I'm saying? So that's the thing that we got to remember. That's why I always say, if you just know 3 chords, and let's stick with the 1, 4, 5. If you know the 1, 4, 5 in a couple of keys that have no bar chords, like C. Well, C has an F, but I use the triad F. But C has an F, and C also has a B minor, okay? It just doesn't have sharps and flats. So if you take a key like that, right, and stick to C, like I know someone who takes almost every song and transposes it to C because that's where their voice is, and I guess that's the chords they know how to play the best. So sometimes you'll hear them do a song, and while it's very good, it just doesn't quite sound the same because it's not the same, right? The other thing that I got stuck at, and many of you are in this, I can tell by the comments I get and questions I get asked by email and by comments on videos, is that Ray, I know all my open chords. I'm getting pretty good. I can play. I'm like you. I can play all those songs, and I can play those 3, 4, 5 chord songs, all my open chords. I can use a capo. I can do all that. But I want to take the next step. So, again, the easiest is to start playing notes around your chords, okay? And we can do that 2 ways. I've already sort of hinted and showed you a little bit of the first way, which is to add notes of a scale in between the chords. So if we're playing something like G, C, and D, we can do a G, and we can walk to the G, or to the C, walk to the D, back to the C. You've often heard a song end like, or start like this. I mean, that's a classic ending from the C to the G. That's just a walk up or a walk down. That's it. And those are just playing those notes. There's the root note of C right here. Okay? C, B, A, G. That's a simple, basic example of like a walk up or a walk down. That's a really good way. I remember the first time I saw that, I was at an open jam or an open mic, and this fella gets up and pulls this off. And I'm like, oh, whoa, hey, whoa. What was that? Sounded so cool. And that's all it was. He was just playing dabbing the little notes in the 2nd fret, just to bring all the chords together. So instead of going like that, he would be going that kind of thing, right? Staying in time, but just using like a bass line. Doon, doon, dun, 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 doon, doon, dun, 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 right? So it's pretty cool. And that kind of put the seed in my head. But there's an easier way, okay? And I talk about this all the time, and I actually just included it in a video just last week about some basic things that beginners can use to start getting better. And arpeggiating, okay? Now, if you get on the Google and say, hey, what's an arpeggio? You're going to get some weird crap come up at you. You're going to get these 3 notes, and you're going to have them mapped out all over the fretboard, and it's going to look like a massive scale. Okay, it gets really complicated. It does. It's bizarrely complicated, and it doesn't have to be. All an arpeggio is, it's the 3 notes of the triad of the chord you're playing. So if I'm playing a G, the arpeggio of G are the notes 1, 3, and 5 in that scale. So in G, that would be G, B, and D. G is 1. We skip the A. We go to the B is 3. We skip the C, which is the 4, and we go to D. Now, if I play these 3 notes together, now watch my strumming. I'm only strumming strings 4, 5, and 6, even though it looks like I'm full G here, right? I'm playing a G triad because I'm only playing these 3 strings, G, B, and D. That's a triad, G. So I'm playing G. Okay? Now, if I play these notes individually, G, B, D, D, B, G, G, B, D, 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 B, G, I am playing an arpeggio. That's all that is. Okay? To play an arpeggio, you're going to play them in ascending order, in proper order, G, B, D, not G, D, B. That's an inversion, G, B, D. And you're going to play them backwards, D, B, G. And then you're going to go down, the way why it looks like a scale is then they're going to take you to another G, B, and D in a different octave. But all you're going to be playing is G, B's, and D's because you're playing a G arpeggio. And they are all over the fretboard. Okay? There's a G, B, D right here. Right? There's a G, B, D right here. There's a G, B, D here. All going to sound a little different because they're in different areas of the fretboard on different strings. They're going to sound trebly or bassy. But that's all an arpeggio is. So what we can do as an open chord player, we can arpeggiate the chords. So now you're saying, I know what you're saying. You're saying, well, Ray, hold on a minute. I don't even know what notes are in a G. How am I going to arpeggiate this darn thing? But this is the beauty of this. You don't have to know the notes. Okay? When you play an open chord, we're going to stay with G. That might as well, right? You play all 6 strings of that G chord. It's beautiful. Most people, it's their favorite chord to play. It's deep, it's rich, it's got all 6 strings. Now, I can use any of the strings that make up a chord. So in this case, 6. No matter which string I pluck, now this is why it's called an open chord. Any string that I pluck, whether it's fretted or open, not fretted, I am only playing the notes of the triad, G, B, and D. So check it out. So there's your G, right? Fretted, fretted B, open D, open G, open B, right? Get it? G, D's, and B's. And fretted G. Now some people like to play their G with 2 fingers here like that. You know when you play that C add 9 and you go to the G thing, right? And you keep your fingers here. Okay, let's see what that gives us. It gives us a G, a B, a D, a G. Now instead of it being an open B, I'm fretting it here so it's a D. And again we got our G. So we still only have G, B's, and D's. Now let's go to C. Now the triad of C is C, right? That's the first. The second would be D. We don't use that. Third note would be E. The fourth note would be F. We don't use that. And then G would be the 5. 1, 3, 5. C, E, G. So when we fret our C chord, open, we actually have 5 strings that we strum. So that means I can play any of these 5 strings in any order, and I will be arpeggiating, in other words, playing only the notes of the triad of that chord. C, E, open G, fretted, fretted C. Right? If I keep going, open E. Now, you know how they always tell you to play only the 5 on the C? No problem. But what if I played this string? That dreaded 6th string. No problem. Why? Because it's an E, an open E. And E is the 3rd note in the triad. It's just that now you're kind of changing the C chord. This would be known as a C with an E in the bass. You've heard of C/G, that's a C. With the pinky, or swap these fingers, it doesn't matter which finger you use, but we're going to play the G as well. So we're playing a C chord, but we're including this string, which we're not supposed to. And it's a G, so it's C/G. That's what that chord means. Big fancy music thing, but all it means is we're playing a G, an extra G. That's it. Okay? All right. So now we've got G 6 strings, we got C 5 strings, and let's finish it off with the D, the 1, 4, 5. So in the D, we only have 4 strings. 1, 2, 3, 4. They make up the D chord, right? Open D, fretted A, fretted D, fretted F sharp. If we just play these 4 strings in any order, we are arpeggiating. Now we can't come up here, we're not supposed to, and play A or E. Now, the thing is, we could play the A because there's an A fretted here. So we're just doubling that note. Just like we did in the G, we played 1, 2, 3 Gs in the G chord. All right, so let's put that together as an arpeggiated chord progression. So normally you would play G, C, D, G. But now, remember, we don't have to think about this. We can just go. Stay on the G if you want. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, oh, I gotta find out, slow this down, find out exactly what strings he was plucking. You don't have to. You can pluck any of the strings, as long as they're the strings that make up the chord. So any of the 6 in the G, any of the 5 in the C, and any of the 4 in the D. Now, some of the combinations you come up with may not sound as good. They'll all sound fine, but some will sound mint. So for example, if I'm here on the D, yes, I only got the 4 strings, but I can still be a little creative, so I can play. Or I could play. I can play them in any order I want. I can go. Whatever suits my taste. So again, now when I'm arpeggiating, again, anything works. Use your ear. Now you're playing by ear. That's all that means. Yeah, it's that easy. You're playing by ear. Playing by ear doesn't mean necessarily that you can listen to a song on the radio and go, oh yeah, A minor, C, G. I can't do that. If I know the first chord is A, I can do what we did earlier in the show. I could say, okay, he's probably going to a, what's Ed Sheeran? 1/6 3 chord combinations, something like that. So I would go, okay, A, B, C, D, E, F. He's going to an F, probably an F sharp minor. You know, you can figure it out once you get some theory under your belt. But I can't listen. And I'm going to tell you, I've known a lot of musicians, a lot of guitar players, and not many of them can do it. I can spot a bad chord, as you could, right? If I played a C, but like, hey, that didn't sound like a C. No, because I had one finger off. Oh, that's a little better. Like, I can do that, but I can't necessarily, all right? So not, you know, not everybody can do that. Playing by ear means, hey, you know, here's playing by ear. Does that sound good? Does that sound good? Oh, there. A. That's playing by ear. You listen to something, you match the notes, right? And the notes are the same as the chord. So if I'm playing this A over that progression and it sounds mint, like that sound you get, that synergy, that, oh wow, that just goes perfect, right? You hear it, you know. That's an A chord. Even though it's a note, I can now confidently say, hey, they're playing an A chord. So now I know one of the chords in the progression. And then I think the other one was I came here and I got a nice match on the D. That would be the 4, right? Because there's the A. 1, 2, 4, 5. The 3 would be here as per the major scale, but we're not using that in the 4-note box. So now I know that 2 of the chords, one's an A and one's a D. And then when I went like this, man, that sounded sweet. So E's a chord. Now I just got to figure out which order they're played in. And that's playing by ear. Okay? So when you look at things like, hello, Randy. When you look at things, hopefully everything sounds better today. When you look at things, how would you say it? Okay, so someone said earlier that I feel my best progress is when I don't think about progress. Well, this is an example. Okay? When you don't think about what you got to do, you're in the saddle. You're ready to go. Right? So not thinking, I'm just playing. Okay? Record yourself, analyze it later, and figure out what you're doing if you want. But playing, that's the key. So, of course, in order to do something like this, where you just play, you gotta know, like you saw me play here, right? So this is actually it's a triad. triads are movable. So once I hit one triad, which is an A, I can go to B, D, A, B, C, D. This is a G, C, D. Right? So not thinking about it is where you want to get to. When you were a kid, you thought about the training wheels. And you thought, if the training wheels come off, I can't ride my bike. So now as a guitar player, you're thinking about where this finger has to be on the D chord and how many strings do I have to strum and you got to have something in place. So that's what your practice is for. So if you just constantly are practicing the same 3 chords, then you're going to get to the point where you could play those 3 chords in your sleep in all different ways, different combinations, and use different strumming patterns and put different rhythms on it. You know, I can play D to the C. That's cool, no problem. Or I could play play it that way, you know? You can play it whichever way floats your boat. But you're not thinking about it. And, you know, that's huge. Now, the 1-4-5 thing. Hey, Red, how are you? The 1-4-5 thing, as you heard me talk about this, I just want to clarify what we're doing there, okay? 1-4-5, as I said earlier, pertains to chords in a key. We number the chords that are in a key. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. We do the same for scales, notes in a scale, right? We talked about that a little earlier. So where these numbers come from is the major scale, and that's why when people ask me, what's the most important scale? What scales should I know? Should I know them all? No. 2 scales are important, in my opinion, from what works for me. The minor pentatonic, because that's the all-purpose flower of scales. That works with anything. Man, I have played that scale over blues, jazz, reggae, rock, pop. There's a funky note here and there if you're playing a minor pentatonic over a major chord progression, but not really. But really, you know, so you're better off probably playing the major pentatonic if you have the luxury of knowing the two, and the difference is only a couple of notes. But you can use it. It'll get you going, it'll get you by, and it'll get you in the game. The other scale that you should know, you don't have to know how to play it. It's the major scale for theory, because everything in music is based on the major scale, right? So let me explain that. That's how the numbers come in. Now, a lot of you that follow me know that when you're the sessions that I do or have done about taking that next step and starting to play notes instead of chords. So you're listening to music like we did before, and you want to pick out notes, right? Riffs, licks, full lead solos, whatever you want. You got to start somewhere. And the easiest, best way to start is to play the note, the key note of the song that you want to play over, or the chord progression. So if, in other words, if it's in the key of G, then G is the note, okay? So what that means is, if we're playing, again, let's keep it G, C, D, okay? G, C, D, and I want to play something over that. I'm in the key of G, so I'm going to find a G note. There's one there, there's one here, there's one here, There's, you know, there's all over the place, right? There's G's. Okay, so I'm going to start on a G. Let's pick this one right in the middle, right here. All right, now, if the G, when the G song is playing and the chord of G is playing, I can play this note right here. In fact, I can play the root note over any chord in a progression. Okay, so let's go to this one just to show you. This is in the key of A. Now, here's the A. Hear it? But now it's not A, but it still sounds good. It's D and E. Now back to the A. A, D, E, A. But I just played an A note over everything. That's what you can do. When the key, whatever the key is, you can play the corresponding note over any chord in that progression, and it'll sound fine. It won't sound great all the time, but it'll sound fine. It'll sound good, right? Okay. So keep that in mind. That's how you know if you're trying to find the key of something and you're plucking notes to find the matches. The one note that you can play over any chord, whether there's 2 chords or 6 chords in a song, that's your root note. That's your root, that's your key of your song, okay? So in this case, we're looking at G, right? So G would be the one note. So remember, I always tell you, if you want to play in G, go to the G, make a 4-note box off the G, right? G, up 2 frets, A. Under the G is a C, always. And 2 frets up is D. So we just use basic fretboard theory. There's my starting point. If I go up 2 frets, I go up 1 key, G to A. Under the G is always a C, right? So here we have a G. This, I don't even have to look. It's going to be a C, no matter where I am. You may never play here, okay? But let's find a G. There's a G right here. Or let's play this G. So we have, here's a G right here, okay? Here's a G right here. Under this G will be a C. Don't even have to look. So the 1, the 2, now the major scale, remember the major scale? You don't have to play it, but this is where you got to know it. 1, 2, the 3 is right here, B, G, A, B. That's 3. 4 is the C, 5 is the D, 6 is the E, 7 right here, and there's your octave. That's your major shape, right? 2, then boom, boom, skip 1, right? So 2, and then skip that one and play these 2, skip that one and play these 2, and then play these 2. Right? There's your major scale, as the dots on your tab sheet are, right? So what we're doing in a 4-note box is we're eliminating the 3. And we're playing 1, 2, 4, 5. The 1 is always over the 4. The 5 is always under the 2. And then what's under a 5 all the time is another root, the octave. So 1, 2, 4, 5, 1. Don't have to look, that's another G. G, G. Okay? 1, 2, 4, 5. Now they each have a relationship. The 1 is the root. The 2 is, you know, going up off the root. The 3 is a C. Remember, the guitar is tuned in thirds. E, fourth, sorry. So that's why underneath is always going to be the same, right? So G will always have C under it. 2 frets up will be a D. So we have 1, 2, 4, 5. There's your 4-note box. 1, 2, 4, 5. If I want to play the same notes in a different octave, go under the 5 and start again. 1, 2, 4, 5. G, A, C, D. G, A, C, D. Okay? As per the major scale. if I'm here and I want to play the 6th, all right, A is 1, B is 2, or G is 1, A is 2, B is 3, C is 4, D is 5. The 6th is this note right here. That's an E. Okay? And then your 7th would be here, is your F sharp, and your 8th is back to the 1, because there's only 7 notes. And there's your octave. Now this note and the octave are the same, right? G, 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 just octaves apart. The 5th note, the relationship is, there's a music word for it, but they get along well. They harmonize with each other. So that carries over to chords. So stay with me here. G and D harmonize together. So if I'm playing G, when I get to the D, I can use the D as a temporary root. The D and the G sound amazing. Now look at this, G and D. What am I playing right now? If I play them together, look at the shape, the way my fingers are. This is a power chord. This is a G5 power chord. G, the root, 5, the 5th note of the scale. G, A, B, C, D. That, in other words, that opposite corner of the box. Play them together, there's your power chord. Bring your pinky up here to the octave G, and there's your power chord. Some people play the octave. You don't have to. So I got 2 G's in there, but it's still just a 2-note power chord. If I don't play the octave, I got my 1 and my 5. Now, let's look at chords. G, how many songs do you know? D, G, D, before it goes somewhere else. Because they harmonize with each other. Friday night I'm going nowhere, all the lights are changing green to red. Right? It's a natural. G and D. 1 and 5. So there's the relationship. So there's where the numbers come from. Right? They're the same as the chords, the same as the notes. So a 1 chord in G is G, a 1 note in G is G. They're the same. Well, that's where this whole 1, 2, 4, 5, all these numbers come from. Don't confuse them with the numbers when you're learning scales. Do not do this. I know it seems easy, but you're setting yourself up for confusion. When you learn, say, we all learned the A minor pentatonic first. How many of you, put your hands up, learned it this way? 5, 8, 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5, 8, 5, 8, 5. How many did that? Okay. It's not good. In my opinion, I've never related to those tab things with the lines and the numbers. I couldn't get it. As soon as I put the notes to the numbers, oh, okay, but that's me, right? But let me explain why. Because if you learn your scale that way, then what are you going to do for the 2nd position or the 3rd position? Those numbers are only relevant if you're playing this right here. Okay, but let's take a look at the minor pentatonic in A. Now if I get to here and I want to come and slide over here and play here, I'm still playing A minor pentatonic, but I'm playing in the highest part of the 2nd position. Well, this ain't no, now it's, what is it now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now I'm playing 8, 10. 8, 10, 8, 10, 8, 10, 8, 9, 7, 5. No. It's too confusing. Instead, okay, play by numbers. You'll never get lost. Or play by the letters of the notes. Either or. So what I mean by that is, if I'm in A, 1, 2, 4, 5, 1, 2, 4, 5, 1, 2, 4, 5. There's a new, the 1 is under here. 1, 2, 4, 5, and then the 1 over the border, 1, 2, 4, 5. So I'm playing the same notes, and I never get lost. Because if I ever get lost and don't know where I am, and I just played a, for example, an A, and I'm in the key of G, right? I know the A is the 2. So if I know that that's a 2, I know that's a 1, and what's over a 1 would be the 5, 4, 2, 1. There I'm back home to G. 1, 2, 4. Like they never change. I know it's a little hard sometimes to get the head around that. But it's so critical moving forward that, you know, it's great to say, okay, I just want to learn the solo of, you know, I don't know, Hotel California. You look at the tabs and it's whatever, it's the 10th fret of the 3rd string. Okay, I see that because it's a starting point. But what you should instantly do is go, okay, what note am I playing? That's an F. Right? And you should know that. And if that's an F and that's the key that you're playing in, that's the 1. 1, 2, 4, 5, 4, 2, 1, 1, 2, 4, 5, 2, 1. Right? Or F, G, B flat, C. Okay? Whatever. Like that's the 2 ways to learn. But that's where those numbers are based from, the major scale. That's why the same as when you're finding a chord. We did it earlier on. Ray, what's the chords in the key of G? We're using the major scale to figure out the keys in any chord. What's the chords of the key of D? All right, D. D is 1. Okay, now remember the major scale? 2, 2, 1. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1. What does that mean? If we're in D, and we want to know the chords in the key of D. D is 1. Now we got to go up 2 to find the second one, right? 2, 2, 1. So D is the first one. We got to go up 2. So if we go from D up 2, what do we get? We get an E. Okay, so the second chord in D will be some sort of an E. The third chord, we go up 2 more, right? 2, 2, 1. So from E, we go to F is 1, F sharp. So the third, so now we have D, E, F sharp. 2, 2. Now we go up 1, F sharp to G. So now our chords are D, E, F sharp, G. Now we got to go 2, 2, 2, 1. So the next chord would be A, that's 2 from G. B, that's 2 from A. C sharp, which is 2 from the B, and ending on the D. There's your scale. D, E, right? F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. There's your chords in the key of D. There's your note scale in D, the scale of D, right there. Now for the chords, we have to do one more thing. We have to figure out which ones are major and minor. So D would be the 1. It's a major. The second chord was E, but that's a second chord, so it's a minor. So your chords are D, E minor, F sharp minor, right? Because it's a 3 chord. The G would be the 4. Right? And your A would be 5. There's your 5. And then your B would be 6, so it would be a B minor, where you play it here as a B minor, or you can play it here as a B minor. And that's how it works. The scale, the major scale, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1. So once again, in G, G is 1. Second chord would be A, so because we go up 2, G to, right? G, A, but it's a minor because it's not a 1, 4, 5. So G, A minor, or if you want to play all bars, A minor. Okay? Then you got to go up another 2. That's B minor. We go to B minor. Then we go to C, up 1. Then we go to D, up 2, and then we go to E minor, because that's the 6th. That's it. The major scale dictates it. That's why you got to know it. But you don't have to know how to play it. Does that make sense? But if you do, it's great. You know? So, again, there's another thing that really blows a lot of people away, because they don't understand it. I didn't understand this for 5 years. I just relied on inner Google. So I didn't understand any of this stuff. If someone yelled at me after 5 years saying, "Hey, Ray, what's the 3rd chord, the key of D?" I don't know. I had no idea. As silly as that sounds. And I know there's people here watching this that don't know. That's why you're watching. You don't know what it is either. Or a lot of people know, but only after they've had to be quite cerebral about it, think about it. And of course, as you know, when you're playing guitar, you have to be instinctive, and you got to be reactive. And you don't always have a chance to sit there and think, "Oh, what's the 6th chord in the key of E? Oh, quick, E, F, F, F." You don't have time. Now, I know people that have it on the back of their guitars. They write it out or type it out, tape it to the back of their guitar. So they have key of A, and they have the list of chords. Key of B, list of chords. C, right? And then a few minor chords, or all the minor chords, right? So there's a trick for you if you want to. And then if someone says, "Hey, we're going to play the 12-bar blues in the key of F." What? Okay, F. You check your thing. You check the box. Okay, F is 1, right? G, A, B. It's going to be B is the next, and then C is the next. You know what I'm saying? It's right there. Okay, but that's all based on the major scale: 2-2-1, 2-2-2-1. And as far as one more thing about scales, the reason I say start learning to play the minor pentatonic, we all know that the shape is the same. Okay, but there's 2 things that I want you to understand. The shape is only the same in the first position. So meaning, when they say, "Okay, we're going to play the A minor pentatonic in the first position," what does that mean? That just simply means we're going to start off the first note of the scale, which is A. Simple, right? A. Right here, A minor pentatonic. The next note is the C, right here. 1, 2, 3 frets up, a total of 4 frets covered. Right, 1 and 4, but it's 3 frets from the first. There's your 1, 4. Okay, so now, if someone said to me back in the day, "Oh, we're going to play the second position of the A minor pentatonic," no problem. There's my A minor pentatonic, second position. All right, I just move it up, 2. There's my second position. Wrong. Because when you play a scale, any scale, the reason you play the scale, the reason we learn patterns and shapes, is because we can only play the notes in the scale. So if I'm learning a solo from a song and it's played in A minor pentatonic, then I can only play the notes of the A minor pentatonic. Now, it really helps if you know what those notes are. So the reason I say pentatonic, penta, 5. You only have to know 5 notes. So in A, that would be A, C, D, E, and G. That's it. So A, C, D, E, G. Done. There's the scale. That's it. When we do this, we're actually playing 2.5 scales. We're playing the 5 notes here. We're playing the 5 notes here. We're playing 2 extra notes there. That's what we're playing. So we're actually playing it 4 times. 1, 2, and then coming back the high and the low. The actual scale's only got 5 notes in it. And it helps if you just know those notes. A, C, D, E, G. Why? Well, because now we're talking positions. So what does it mean when they say second position? Play the second position of the A minor pentatonic. Okay. What it means is we're going to start the scale on the second note of the scale. Not the second note of the overall A scale, the second note in that minor pentatonic scale, which would be C. If it was the second note of the A scale, it'd be B. But C, okay? So the second position of A minor pentatonic is played starting here. So we're going to move. Now you're thinking, well, but he just said that you can't use the same shape. You're right. So if I play this and this, I'm playing C, correct. But now I got to play a D. That's not a D. That's a D sharp. So the second position is different. It's only 2 here. Right? So there's my A minor pentatonic first position, A, C. But if I start it on the second position, I got to play C, D, E. Now I can get my E here, or I can go back here and get my E. E. What's the next one? G. So that's here. So there's my spread now. When in the first position, my 4-fret spread was on this string, the 6th string here on the top. But in the second position, my 4-note spread, so the shapes are different, is here. So now I got to play C, D, E, G. Now I can get my A here, or I can go here and get my A. And there's my C. There's another spread of 4. So instead of having a spread of 4 here and then 2 down here, in the second position I have 2 here, but then I have a spread here and a spread here. So it's a different shape. Okay? Now if I want to play the 2 together, I can slide back and forth, but I will only ever be playing A, C, D, E, or G. So check it out. So A, C, D, E. Let's slide over here. What's that note there? That's an E. That's good to go. Now I'm going to play here. G, A, C, D. Back over to this position. I'm in the first position. Back over to the lower part or the higher part of the second position. And every single note I'm playing right now is an A, C, D, E, and G. So that's how you put solos together. Because you might start off playing in A, but you'll be playing here. Then you might want to go, okay, let's go over here and play here, and play this spread. Now I'm in the second position, the lower scale. Right, now I can go to the higher scale, but I'm only playing C's, D's, E's, and G's. And A's. Because I know my 5 notes. That's the way to learn a scale. Because then you don't need inner Google. It's going to take some time. So for example, we all know how to buzz this one, right? But where do I go now? Oh my God, I got to think about it. Okay, I'm on an E, I need a G. So the G is right here. Or sorry, I'm on an E here, the G is right here. Right? I'm on a D to E, G. So I don't even have to care what inner Google tells me what the shape is. I know that if I'm here and I want to play the next note of the scale, I got to take it here or I got to take it here. E to G or E to G. E, G, A. And where do I go now? I can't go here, that's a B. So if I want to go up higher, I got to go to C. Now I'm in another position. I'm in the third position. C, D, G, A. You see how it works? So that's why the shapes of the scales change with each position, because the notes aren't in the same places as the shape. But you got to play the notes, not the shape. Okay, so that's the difference. That's what it means by positions. Now, before you panic, trust me, you do not need a second or third position or fourth position. And you really shouldn't even bother until you can make music with your first position or whatever position you want to master. So that's why I said earlier in the show, a lot of us, me included, learned, because someone told me on a video, that I should know the A minor pentatonic. Okay. And then I said to myself after a while, I go like, this is ridiculous. because I play here. How am I going to use notes that are here when I only know how to play here? Because I don't know how to come up the neck. So what you would do looking back, okay, it's easy to look back, is what I should have done is said, okay, I'm going to find these notes here. So what were those notes again? A minor pentatonic, A, C, D, E, and G. So let's see where they are here. Okay? Here's my E, G, C, A, D, E, G, A. Oh, you want to join it to the natural one? No problem. I'm playing a C. What do I need to go? I got to slide over. I got to find a G or an A, C, D, E, or G. So I'm playing a C. There's my D. There. Now I'm in that position here. First position. Want to slide back? No problem. Slide here. What I can't do is do this. I can't go, because this note here is not in the scale. I can't go, because that note, B, is not in the scale. I can't go, because that's not in the scale. So from this C, where do I go? I got to go to a D, an E, a G, which I can find an E here, so I could play C, E, D, G, A. There's my 5 notes. Right there, 5 notes. Everything that I need is right there. That's the position I should have learned first. But that's okay. It is what it is, right? You don't know. And when you don't know, you don't know. But that's the thing about scales. You don't need to know all the positions. You don't need to know the modes. That's high-end stuff, man. Like that is when you're talking 3 jazz masters sitting around talking about extensions of chords and stuff, and they start throwing things around. Oh, well, now if you diminish the 3rd and you move the 4th and you gotta C sus D. Like that's high-level stuff. I don't know all that stuff. And it's because I don't need to know it. I am not going to need to know how to play a C diminished or an A sus or a D sus 4. I mean, you know, I got other fish to fry before I get there, if you know what I mean. And I'm sure most of you are the same. And for me, I've been up front for the last 2 years I've been here. I'm like you. I'm no pro guitar player. I'm nothing great. I'm just a guy who taught myself how to play guitar. Yeah, I write songs, I do gigs and all that, but so will you, or could you? You know, if you want to. If you don't, you just want to pull the guitar out on a Friday night, play around at a party, perfect. Okay? So that's what we have to remember. And I'll leave you with this. Wherever you get your instruction from, and it doesn't matter, because you can learn from anybody. Anybody and everybody learns something every day from anybody and everybody else. Don't kid yourself. They just learn at different levels. Okay? You know, Clapton learns from Jimmy Page, but at such a high level. Okay? Or vice versa. I'm just throwing, I didn't mean anything by that. But so, look, the thing you need to remember is wherever you get your information or want to get your information or you want to take lessons or, whatever, okay? Ask yourself this question first. Why do I want to play guitar? What do I want to do with the guitar? And I've said this many times. If your answer is, I want to be a professional, I want to make a living off music, all that kind of stuff, then two things. You better be young, because there's that thing called the 10,000 hours to master your craft. No matter what it is, woodworking, artistry, cooking, electricians, plumbers, athletes, whatever. 10,000 hours, and you're a master of your craft. Well, if we put that into guitar math, and we play a half hour a day, because that's what some people say, all you need is a half hour a day, well, that's only like 130 hours a year. And I need how many? 10,000. Let's see now. Let's carry the 3. Yeah, it's a lot of years, right? So you better be young. And you are going to have to know everything. You're going to have to know all your theory. You're going to have to know everything there is, because you're a pro. Okay? If your answer is, I just want to have fun, I just want to play some songs, as I said earlier, pull the guitar out at a party, then you don't need the majority of this stuff. All you need to do is learn a few open chords. That's up to you which chords. What I would recommend is first start with songs that you're dying to learn. Google those songs, find out the chords. Start there. I want to play Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. So what am I going to do? I'm going to learn my G's, my C's, my A minors, and my C's. G, D, A minor, C. If I want to play 25 years, my life is still trying to get up that great big hill of home, whatever, right? Okay. Then I'm going to learn those chords. That's where you're going to start, okay? You're going to find out that the chords that you're in that song you want to learn are all from the same key. So if you can learn 3 chords, your first goal should be 2 as a beginner. If you're raw beginners out there watching, your first goal is learn 2 chords. Why? Because then you got something to transition from one to the other. Got to get this. Left hand is priority for beginners. Left hand. Got to start learning the shapes, get the fingers on the right strings. Close second is your right hand. Now that changes as you get better, okay? But right now, your priority, you got to learn your 2 or 3 chords with this hand. How to switch back and forth flawlessly. In the meantime, most of us just do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, downstrokes. Okay. At first, you are so out of it and you don't know what's going on. This really means nothing. But downstrokes is all you need in order to get this left hand going. But looking back, what I would have liked to have done is, even though I was just playing simple downstrokes to help with my strumming hand, I still make a conscious effort of keeping those strokes equal distance apart, like building a fence. The fence posts have to go exactly so many feet apart so that the middle fits in perfectly and everything looks right. Same with your strumming. If from day one you're able to keep these downstrokes an equal length apart, so not this. I mean, later on, that could be a funky rhythm when you know what you're doing. But at the beginning, no. You want it to be as equal as possible. 1, 1, 1. Right? Now, you're never going to be perfect. Trust me. Okay? You're never going to be perfect. But you're going to be so close that the human ear won't know. That's what you want to try to do. That's all you need at the beginning. A couple of chords and a consistent strum. Right? To do this. Once you can do this, together, right? Now, forget learning more chords for now. Now it's all about the right hand. This is when you start adding what we call rhythm. What's rhythm? It's just strumming patterns and the way you play them. Tempo, beats per minute, emphasis on the first strum or the fifth strum or the third strum or the whatever. I'm going to show you in a second. So now we're going to try to add a strumming pattern instead of the 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't forget that. That's a good one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Check it out. I got my first real 6 string. Out of 5 and da 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 da. All downstrokes, right? Trust me, there's a lot of songs all downstrokes. So don't throw that out. That's your first strumming pattern. But the second thing you want to do is add an up. Now the up goes in between those 2 downs, like the fence. Now you got to put in the middle. So down, 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 down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Now I'm not strumming faster. Down, 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 up, down. The downs are still exactly the same part, but I'm just putting ups in between them, okay? You might hear it as 1 and a 2 and. So 1 and 2 and is the same as down, up, down, up. 1 and 2 and is more musician-like to talk about, okay? Sounds more professional, but it's the same garbage. Down, up, down, up, down, up. You want to start, that's going to add some natural rhythm. So remember, we learned G, C, and D. Once we can start not thinking about changing between those chords, we can think about how we're going to play them. So we went 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Then we went 1. Just an example of a strumming pattern. Now you can hear the difference. It's getting a little musical, right? We're starting to get musical. Then down the road, because you're going to practice and practice thinking of your right hand, down the road, a month, a few weeks, a few days, everybody's different. You can start playing those same 3 chords, but all of a sudden they start sounding like songs. Ba 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 ba. You hear the difference? We went from right as a beginner, we went from that to same 3 chords, but now we'll put some rhythm into it to make them sound musical. That's all done with the right hand. That's the reason thousands of songs can share the same chord base, the same progression. Google G, C, D songs. You're going to get thousands come up. You know, some of them you're not going to know. A lot of them you're not going to know. But some of them are going to be classics. The difference between all of these songs is the rhythm, the melody, and the vocals. That's it. So you can have all these GCD songs, right? She says it's cold outside, hands me your raincoat. She's always worried about things like that, right? Okay, GCD. Or you could have Sweet Home Alabama. You know, it's endless, right? And she got a smile, and it seems to me he reminds me of childhood memories, and everything is as fresh as a bright blue sky. Okay? This hand is where it's at. So now think about this, right? As a beginner, you know 3 chords, but if you start thinking about your right hand and developing your right hand, technically, you could sit there for hours and play songs that everybody knows just by switching up the rhythm part. This will be the same all night. Okay? That's why, as I started at the beginning of the show, it's not how much stuff you know. You could know everything, but not play anything really well. Someone will watch you and go, not very good. But you're playing all these fancy bar chords and triads and you're ripping scales, kind of, but you're messing them up. You don't play them well. You're not very good. Or you could play 3/4 chords. And we've all heard that. The magic 4-chord progression. I did a video on it. I believe it's the most, I think it's called something about Spotify, the most used chord progressions in Spotify, right? Okay. So, look. Oh, where can my baby be? The Lord took her away from me, right? Or, almost heaven, went Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountain, Shenandoah River. And it down, bye bye bye, and the night with the band, and they're born, and they're born, bye 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 bye. Same, I mean, you've seen the videos, piano players, oh, 4 chords, these 4 chords and all these songs. It's true. Then you throw in your capo. Now you can move these chords to different keys, but still play the same 4 chords. Play another 5,000 songs. So, you see what I'm saying? So instead of branching off in month 3, after you've learned a few chords, and you start to get kind of little arrogant and cocky. Hey, I'm better than anybody. I'm getting better. So you start learning theory and bar chords and triads and all this kind of stuff. And it just sets you back. If you would have taken that time, like I wish I had of, and just played and developed those 3 chords, maybe added a 4th when I was ready, and worked on my right hand, oh, how good I would have been. Quicker. Anyways. So, there you have it. We've done a rundown of a lot of things today that a lot of people ask me about. And when I come on live, that's where I get these from. All these comments that you leave in the videos and questions, and some people email them or whatever. I mean, I take note. I try to answer you on the spot, but it's hard to sit there and type what I'm saying out, right? So I write them down, and then when I come live, I address those, so that you've got something to work off of. But look, I've tried it so many ways playing the guitar. Yeah, look, I don't know if you can see them. I got electric guitars. I got a bass guitar. I've tried everything. It didn't make me any better. I could play bar chords. I could do that. I could sit there. My hand is sore, and it gets sore, so I don't play them a lot, but I can. I could play triads. Okay. But at the end of the day, who cares if I can play G 3 different ways? Because that's all you're doing. I play G here, and this is one of the most amazing chords you're ever going to play on a guitar. Good old open G. 6 strings of, well, fulfillment and fantasy. It's beautiful. What do I gain by learning how to play it here, or here, or here? What do I gain? Or, you know, I mean, it's okay. And down the road, great. But at the beginning, I don't need to know how to play G 4 ways or A 3 ways. It doesn't make sense. Take that time, those hours that you're going to put into learning playing G 4 ways, and do what I just explained. Cut everything down to what you're good at and work it, baby. Put the time into that. You know? And I don't know how many times I've told this story. I've gone to these open mics and stuff, and I got up there. One time I was playing about a year. I went to an open mic, and I got up and played 2 songs. Both songs, I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see old obstacles in my way. Now, look at what I'm playing. Gone are the dark clouds that have me blind. Gonna be a bright, bright. There's the chords. That's it. 4 chords. Right? And then I played another song with the same chords in them. And afterwards, you know, sitting there and someone, hey, pretty good, eh? Like, wow, this, you know, and the guy, they've had a few drinks, of course, and the guy hits it, goes, hey, there's that guy, he's pretty good, eh? Yeah, you're rock, dude, you're good. I didn't have the heart to say, buddy, those are the only chords I know. It's only 2 songs I know, okay? Because it didn't matter to them. They thought I was good. Why? Because that night, I played those 4 chords really good. Now, if I had got up there and played 12 chords, but played them sort of, well, not very good, then the overall perception would be, yeah, he's okay, he's not very good. You see it, my point? Like that's what you got to remember. This guitar, this instrument allows you to sound really good with very little. You don't have to know everything. That will come. Do you think, when I started to play, do you think that one day, my goal was, oh, I'm going to start telling everybody how to play guitar on YouTube? No. My goal wasn't to play gigs. My goal wasn't to write songs. My goal wasn't to play my guitar every day and whatever. No. My goal was I wanted to sort of fit in with some friends of mine that were playing so that I could maybe join in on a Thursday night. My goal was, yeah, you know, to learn a few songs that I grew up with that really makes my heart flutter. That's it. My goal was to just do something that I've always wanted to do, which was play guitar. But I never did, never played a note of music until I turned 50. Just didn't have the opportunity, didn't think I could. Didn't have anybody to show me. All of the above. That was my goal. If you set a short goal, like just play 2 songs. I want to learn pick out 2 songs that would just, you know, if I leave here tomorrow, would you still remember me? 'Cause I'm as free. Right? That's all I want. If that's whatever songs they are, play them, master them, make them your own. Don't try to copy the record. You're never going to do that. Because they got like multiple guitar players, multiple tracks, special effects, auto-tune. I got all this stuff. You're not going to sound like the record. Make it your own, right? Then, trust me, the reason I say start with a few chords and branch out and polish it is because when you start sounding your version of good in your mind, go, hey man, that was good. I don't care what anyone says, that sounded good. When that starts, the feeling is euphoric. And that drives you to practice every day and practice quality. And that drives you to be the best you can be. And it motivates you. When every day, okay, the other way, when I first started, played a year and quit, played another year and quit. Why? Because every day I sounded like this. But I was always learning, I'm playing all bar chords and everything. Yeah, but I sounded like this. Then I get, that was good. Oh, that was good. And then I changed it. Why can't I get that? Why does that? Okay? Every day. And finally, your brain, right? Because your guitar foundation, left hand, right hand, ears, and brain. Your brain says, Ray, you're shit. You've been playing every day. I don't want to hear it no more. Put the guitar down and go do something else. So you say, okay, yeah, you do. And you put it down for a day or two. And then it becomes a week, 3 weeks, 2 months, 6 months, a year, you're out. It's an ornament. That's what happens because we don't sound good. Whereas, when I just sat there and went, I started thinking, wow, that didn't sound bad. Sound pretty good. Man, let's do that again. Hey, that sounds all right, And you just keep doing it and you start, man, big difference. Now every day your brain says, Ray, I like what you're playing. Pick up that guitar again. You got to practice today. Come on, let's go. I'll give you the motivation. I'll give you everything you need. Let's do it. Big difference. So again, the philosophy of learning guitar. Thanks for joining me. If you don't know who I am, I'm a nobody, but I have a channel here. If you haven't subscribed, please do so if you think I can help you. There's, I'm probably close to 600 videos. Some of them are from a couple of years ago. They're pretty shit, I got to tell you. But, I picked up the game a little bit, all right? I am not a professional content creator. I do enough, I think, to get my message across like today in a clear, concise way. And please go check it out. And it doesn't cost nothing, but if you could just say thank you by hitting that subscribe button, it means a lot to small channels like us, right? And every day there are people coming and telling me, wow, I wish I found you 2 years ago. Wow, like your common sense, you make it so simple. I'm not saying it's simple, but yeah, there is an easier way to learn. This is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, and I've taught myself to do a lot. This, by far, is the hardest, okay? Because it involves physical coordination and mental stuff too, right? You got to have an ear eventually for the music, but that will come later, bit by bit. Don't look too far ahead. Don't do that because you don't have to be there. You could learn 3 chords, like I said earlier, learn 50 songs, and be the star of every party you go to. No problem. Okay? You don't need to know everything. So, again, thanks for joining me. You can go through my library. There's some really interesting stuff. If you're a raw beginner, go to the, what do they call them, playlist. it says beginners start here, and it goes right to day one, what you should do, what I did, okay? Then for those of you that have been playing for a little bit, you're playing songs and you know your chords and you're actually probably better than you think you are, but you know you want to take it and stretch your abilities, you want to look at the playlist called Getting Good. And that's where I talk about things like arpeggios, rhythm, strumming techniques, strum like a pro, what's the difference between the beginner strum and the pro strum, you know, all that kind of stuff. Playing notes that we talked about, you know, how to play little riffs and licks and learn scales and things like that. So that'll get you started, okay? You can ask any questions. I get all the comments and questions. I'm not big enough yet that I can still answer pretty much everybody. I may miss one here and there. It's very rare. But you'll at least get an acknowledgement from me, if not a full answer. And again, as I said, I do write down all the questions. And I make videos based on your input. But I get every day people saying, wow, I didn't realize that I could play guitar without knowing everything, or with only knowing that. And I didn't realize things could be that easy. Thank you. And I get that all the time. And that makes me feel good because, man, I was just like you. I used to watch these videos. My eyes would be just like running and my brain is numb. I'm like, it's not going to happen. You know, the shredding and the fanciness and all that. I didn't understand that. My brain has to be slow and stupid for me to learn. And then I can take it from there. But if you start going on I'm sorry. And so I try to do that in my videos, right? So, all right, everybody. See you later. And remember, there's only one way to get better. Just play your guitar. All right.